All right, welcome to In the Studio with CU Cinephiles. It's our show about contemporary movie reviews, and this time we're talking about Robert Eggers and A24's The Lighthouse. So I guess we'll start off. What did you think of the movie?
I absolutely loved it, to be honest. It was just so powerful and impactful, and it was stylistic, had great acting, had a really intriguing story. It really hit all the points for me and what makes just a really good film.
I absolutely agree. I think every single part of the movie and everything it was going for was masterfully done. And I guess we can go through the bullet points of what you just listed and talk a little bit more about them. And we can start with style, because there's some very clear choices that were made. Do you want to describe the style of the movie?
Yeah, so the entire movie is actually filmed in black and white and in a different aspect ratio. It's like a square. What exactly is?
It's like Academy ratio. That's what it's called. It's just the standard square. I'll put it in the camera.
Yeah.
Standard square ratio. Maybe we'll crop it out in the edit. Who knows?
Ooh,
We're cool like that.
Yeah, we are. This
But
whole episode can just be black and white.
why not?
Sure.
But yeah, so it's Academy ratio. It's really hearkening back to an age of black and white, not gothic cinema, but that kind of horror cycle in a way. It's like what they would have done in the 30s if they had the camera technology that they have
definitely.
now.
Watching this, it felt like one of those old movies, but just with the ability to polish and perfect each shot and each camera angle.
Yeah. In terms of lighting, too, it's really remarkable what they were able to achieve with the cinematography, because there are some shots that are just candlelit, lots of natural lighting, very dark, chiaroscuro, excellent cinematography all around.
Yeah, and the black and white definitely helps with all the lighting, because there's going to be parts where there's going to be pitch black, the shadows are going to be pitch black, it's going to reveal only parts of their faces, and there are even parts where I remember this one scene where it takes out a block from or a plank from the roof and looks in. It's just his eye in that hole. In that case, the aspect ratio also helps, because he's just surrounded by blackness.
Yeah, I agree. Furthermore, do we want to talk about performances in the movie? Because it is a movie driven by just two actors.
Two actors that did a very, very good job. So, obviously, Robert Pattinson does a fantastic job, but I really, they both acted on a very, at that same level. I can't really say that one was better than the other, but I do, notice, I guess, Willem Dafoe's performance as, he going full Captain Ahab with his pirate voice, and you really get that feeling that he's been out at sea, and he is that kind of stereotypical sea captain brought to life, and he gives so much life to it. He gives so much emphasis to it, and the dialogue itself is very good. It's something that is brought over from, I think, The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant, very historically accurate dialogue that is conveyed very well by the actors.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Again, I think the performances are great. I think Willem Dafoe's does stand out, but I think that's because of the script more than it is the performance. He's supposed to be this really loud, blustery caricature, and it's especially with his performance as Captain Ahab, it's a performance of a performance, because as they mention later on in the movie, there's some doubt as to whether or not he actually has even been a sailor at all, or whether his blustery Captain Ahab is an authentic self. And that's really kind of the crux of the movie, is that both of them may be pretending to be somebody else. And so it's performances within performances. I think the casting was great, just in terms of typecasting too, because both of them visually are perfect for the roles. Robert Pattinson has the perfect That's part of the reason he was cast for Twilight. He has the perfect eyes and the distant stare, which is used constantly in the movie, and Willem Dafoe is just so. People have always called him kind of so ugly he's beautiful, and that's really how he is in the movie. He is this rugged individual, and he just looks the part perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other elements I really want to talk about is the actual story, what happens. It's a very like intriguing, mysterious story, and like I enjoyed The Witch a lot, but there's always this kind of sense of there's all this kind of mystery happening. But in the back of my mind, I know it's a witch, and we actually see the witch at the beginning. But in the Lighthouse, you really have no idea what's happening. There's just so much mystery. There's a style to the whole mystery. It's all very seafaring. It's a bit Lovecraftian in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. And it
lots
really
of tentacles.
Yeah, lots of tentacles. And in the same way as like Lovecraft, how Lovecraft compared to like the old Gothic literature, which is like very cold, sterile. Lovecraft is very like you get this whole slimy, very grimy feeling, and the whole movie really felt like that. Like everything was just wet, everything was gross on this island, and they were really in danger of just being engulfed by the sea all the time. And so it really fits in with that whole mystery and whatever the hell is happening, and throughout the movie there's this whole mystery extends to whether anything mystical is even happening or if it's just in the characters' minds.
Right, and that ties it even more into the Lovecraftian sort of narrative, because from the very beginning we know that the old assistant lighthouse keeper went crazy and claimed he was seeing mermaids, and very similar things happen with Robert Pattinson. So we never really know if he's seeing what he's seeing. We never fully grasp what it is he's seeing. There certainly is something there. There's something going on, but there's doubt as to whether or not it's the fact that they've been trapped on this island with very little food and drinking lantern oil for weeks,
Yeah.
or if there actually is something malicious and evil. In terms of plot, it's not much really happens, but it's more about atmosphere and character arcs than it is about physical events.
I guess externally not a lot is happening, but internally
yeah.
a whole lot is happening.
Yeah.
And actually one thing that really interested me was that whole thing you were saying where you believed he was seeing mermaids, and Robert Pattinson's character eventually also starts like having these visions of a mermaid after he like picks up a little scrimshaw statue of the mermaid. And it was kind of interesting to see how those like hallucinations, or if they are even hallucinations, who knows, developed. Whereas like at first he is very like terrified of the mermaid, especially like, and it's kind of harkening back to that idea of like a temptress who's like trying to steal you away. But then as his madness and depravity increases, he starts actually having like fantasies about the mermaid. And it's really just showing how their characters are changing in this environment.
Yeah. I think all around, the best way to describe it is a dark nautical vision or nightmare, because it really has that kind of dreamlike vision quality throughout the whole thing. But I think we're going to have to wrap it up there. Let's go ahead and say, would you recommend this movie?
Absolutely. I'd absolutely recommend The Lighthouse. It does a great job in almost every regard. If you're a big fan of films, you should definitely go see it.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. The Lighthouse was masterfully done. I think I like it better than The Witch, probably, in terms of performance and vision. Both are great films, but I'm really excited to see where Robert Eggers goes next. And I would recommend this to anybody who likes watching movies, not just horror movies, but any movies in general. And with that, that's all we have to say. So until next time, like and subscribe. See you guys.
See ya.